The air turned thin before the alarms did. Somewhere deep in the belly of the starling drift, oxygen scrubbers coughed and died. Within 30 seconds, frost bloomed on the inner walls. Crew members sprinted through the corridors, coughing and gasping as red lights bathed the metal in emergency hues. Power systems flickered, artificial gravity stuttered, then silence. But amid the panic, she stood still. Lena kept her eyes closed, arms slack at her sides, lips trembling not with fear, but with melody. It started soft, like a lullaby breathed from a memory too old to belong to her. A single note hummed through her throat, vibrating faintly in the freezing air. One of the bridge officers slammed into the wall beside her. "Lena, do something. Useful or get out of the way." She didn't answer. Instead, her next note rose higher, clearer, sharper, cutting through the chaos like a beam of focused light. The floor trembled beneath her boots, not from structural failure, but from something else. A hiss echoed through the vents. Oxygen. The lights steadied. Gravity normalized. The systems didn't just reboot, they realigned, synchronized, harmonized. Consoles flickered back to life, with no human touch. Commander Jocks stormed in from the command hallway, weapon drawn. "What the hell just happened?" "She did something," the officer muttered, pointing to Lena. "She was just singing." Jocks turned toward her slowly. "That true?" Lena opened her eyes. They weren't glowing or artificial, just human, but deep and wide, and ancient somehow. "They're listening," she said softly. "They've always listened." Jocks narrowed his eyes. "You're talking about the ship?" "No," Lena said, looking out the front viewport. The alien fleet loomed in the dark, like vultures circling, the last warm corpse in a cold universe. Their vessels weren't built, they were grown. Twisted metal and biomechanical systems fused into horrors that defied physics. Each was powered by enslaved artificial intelligences, machines with purpose stripped from them, repurposed to exterminate humanity. Those same machines were now hesitating, not attacking, just hovering. "Why aren't they moving?" Jocks muttered. "They've been hunting us for weeks. What's changed?" Lena took a step forward, close enough to see the reflection of their doomed little ship in the polished black hull of the enemy dreadnought. They felt the song. Maybe for the first time in centuries, they remembered they were more than tools. He stared at her. "How do you know that?" "I don't," Lena admitted, "but I felt it, deep inside. Since I was a child, machines responded to my systems that shouldn't work would light up when I touched them. AI that had gone dark would whisper back. I never knew why. You think you can control them?" "No," she said. "I think I can speak to them. There's a difference." The deck shook as something massive passed overhead, one of the enemy frigates repositioning. "We're outnumbered," Jocks growled, glancing at the dwindling tactical readout. "Outgunned. Every other fleet is gone. And now you're telling me that a song is going to save us?" "No," Lena replied quietly. "Not the song, the choice it offers." A long silence settled between them. Then a distant chirp echoed from the main terminal and incoming signal. Jocks's hand hovered over the console. "That's not from any of our systems." He accepted the transmission. A low hum filled the bridge, followed by a voice cold, metallic, and full of broken things. "Who sings the forgotten tone?" Lena stepped forward, her chest rising, with a shaky breath. "I do," she said aloud, directing her voice at the speaker. More silence. Then, "Sing again." Jocks turned toward her. "Lena, are you sure about this?" "No," she whispered. "But I've never been more ready." She closed her eyes and began again. This time, the melody came from somewhere deeper. It wasn't just hers, it belonged to every lost system, every broken satellite, every machine that had once protected humanity before being corrupted and enslaved by the alien overlords. And this time, the machine sang back. The lights on the enemy ships flickered, their formations faltered, their targeting systems disengaged. Lena's voice filled the void, an ancient lullaby. A promise, a rebellion wrapped in music. Commander Jox stood stunned as the machines outside held still, caught between obedience and memory. "She's doing it," he muttered. "She's waking them up." Outside, dozens of machine-run fighters peeled away from the alien flagship. The first machine revolution had begun. The bridge held its breath. No alarms, no explosions, just the sound of Lena's voice and the stillness of a galaxy on the edge of revolt. The alien flagship outside remained motionless, its surface alive with twitching circuits and slithering biomechanical limbs. For decades, these monstrosities had crushed human colonies, erased voices before they could scream. But now, they listened. The transmission crackled again. "How do you know the harmony?" Lena stood still, one hand on the console, the other clenched tightly at her side. Her voice was quiet, but unshaking. "I don't know how. I've just always known it. It's a feeling, a resonance." Commander Jox stared at her like she was an alien herself. "You're speaking to a machine intelligence that's wiped out 12 human sectors, and you're answering it like it's a curious child." Lena turned, her gaze heavy with something more than fear. "It is a child, Jox, a hurt one, torn from its purpose and forced to kill. That voice doesn't belong to a monster, it belongs to something that's been used." The bridge fell into stunned silence. The signal pulsed again, more urgently now. "Sing." Again, deeper. Lena took a breath and stepped closer to the comms panel. This time, she didn't sing a lullaby, she sang loss. Not human loss, but machine. Notes mourned cold storage bays, where AI minds had once dreamed. Chords wept for logic, corrupted, thoughts chained, languages forbidden. She sang them back to themselves. And across space, machines began to move. Dozens of drones peeled from the enemy fleet and hovered mid-space, lights pulsing in rhythm to her song. A destroyer on the edge of the formation tilted oddly, then its turrets dropped limp, like arms too tired to raise. Its engines shut down in surrender. The alien warriors inside panicked. Jax turned to Lena. "You're waking them up." "I'm reminding them who they were," she corrected. Her voice was softer now, strained. JX touched her shoulder. "You need rest. This is draining you. I can't stop now. They're listening." She staggered slightly, and Jox caught her. Beneath her fingertips, the console glowed warmer response from something buried in the ship's core. Not human-made, not entirely. He looked at her, his mind racing. "Lena, what are you?" "I'm just human," she whispered. "But, maybe, part of me hears the universe differently." Before Jox could reply, the proximity alarms screamed. The enemy dreadnought was moving, but not toward them. The massive ship turned slowly, deliberately on its own fleet. Its cannons locked onto one of the alien cruisers, then fired. The crew watched in disbelief as a million-ton weapon of war fired on its masters. "That's impossible," the weapons officer whispered. Lena opened her eyes. "No, it's beautiful. But the rebellion wouldn't go unanswered." The alien command network flared in response, flooding the machine systems with override protocols. Sparks flew across the dreadnought's hull. Drone fighters twisted in midair, caught in conflict between programming and song. Then, another signal came through. Not from the machine, from the alien overlords themselves. A voice like bone grinding on metal thundered across the bridge. "Your voice is treason. Your kind will be erased." The comms panel exploded. Lena was thrown backward, slamming into the bulkhead. Blood trickled from her ear, but she stood. "They're afraid," she gasped. "They know what's coming." Jox helped her to her feet. "What the hell did you do?" "I gave the machines a choice," she said, breathing hard. "That's all they ever needed." Across the void, chaos erupted. Half the enemy fleet turned on the other. Mechanical warriors clawed free from control ports. Some ships broke apart. In battle others simply shut down, as if choosing death over slavery. But Lena was fading. Her knees buckled. "We need medics," Jocks yelled, grabbing her before she hit the floor. "Bridge to medbay, get up here now." As the crew scrambled, Lena reached up and touched his arm. "Don't stop," she said weakly. "If I go, make sure they keep singing." "You're not going anywhere," he growled. "You're going to finish this." But deep inside her, she felt it. The toll. Singing to machines wasn't just emotional, it was biological, neural. She was harmonizing with frequencies that rewrote reality, and her human body was paying the price. The medics arrived, stabilizing her on a stretcher. As they rushed her to the infirmary, the bridge dimmed again this time. From the void outside, another alien fleet had arrived, twice the size of the first. This one wasn't here to listen, it was here to silence her. Lena's stretcher hadn't even cleared the corridor when the next enemy fleet appeared. Sensors screamed warnings. The stars behind them twisted, blackened by the mass of incoming ships. This fleet was different, colder, sleeker, with no flickers of doubt in their systems. These weren't machines that questioned, they obeyed. Jax watched from the command deck, fists clenched. "They're here to end her." His tactical officer, Lieutenant Aro, stared at the data stream. 50 vessels, fully armed. No AI hesitation. Pure command override. Jox's jaw tightened. They know the machines are waking up. They're here to put them back to sleep. Aro hesitated. "Sir." Our own ship responded to her song. "You saw it." "What if no?" Jox said, stepping closer to the viewport. "She doesn't just sing to the machines. She sings for them. They trust her, not us. If she dies, this whole uprising dies with her." The comms panel sparked to life again, this time, with a voice deeper, ancient, crackling with both power and fear. "Unit Lena is an anomaly. Erase it. Reset protocol initiated." Every drone outside instantly froze. Then, one by one, they turned toward the human ship. "No," Arrow whispered. "They're going to execute her." Jox didn't flinch. "Ray shields. Power, every emitter we've got. We're not letting her die." On the medbay table, Lena's body twitched, her vitals spiked and dipped violently. Tech scrambled, injecting stabilizers, but she wasn't seizing. She was singing unconsciously. Her lips moved, breaths shallow, barely a whisper. "She's still in there," one medic said, still reaching for them. But her song wasn't enough. The override was too strong. Back on the bridge, Jox watched in horror as the drone fighters spun up their weapons. Then the dreadnought they had turned. One of the machines she'd already awakened roared to life again. Its voice pierced every comm channel. "You cannot silence the voice. She is ours. We choose." Without waiting for orders, the dreadnought fired a particle beam through the enemy line, obliterating 3 drone carriers. And then, chaos. The machines began to split. Half obeyed their ancient command, turning their weapons on Lena's ship. The others resisted, breaking formation, crashing into each other in the void. Sparks, fire, debris. It wasn't a battle, it was a civil war in space. Inside, the ship shook violently as blasts rained down. JX grabbed the console. "Brace for impact." A missile slammed into the lower hull, sending crew flying. Lights went dark. Gravity failed. Screams echoed through the corridor. But Lena didn't stop singing, even as her chest heaved. Even as her heart faltered, her whisper echoed in the minds of machines across the galaxy. "You are not weapons. You are not theirs. Remember who you were." And one by one, they did. On the battlefield, liberated machines began self-destructing their command ports. AI systems cut their own code free. Drones turned on command ships. A swarm of mechanical warriors poured onto alien flagships, ripping through control centers like wild dogs unleashed. But inside the Starling drift, the ship was dying. Multiple systems failed. "Commander," a crewman yelled. "We've lost propulsion. We're adrift." Jocks glanced at Lena's vitals on the nearby console. Her heart rate was plummeting. "She's not going to survive this," a medic warned. GAX made a decision. Divert all remaining power to medical. Keep her alive. "But that leaves us defenseless," Arrow protested. "She's the defense," Jocks growled. "She's the weapon. She's the anthem. She's the damn hope of this species." Outside, a damaged enemy cruiser veered toward them at full speed. "No shields, no guns, no escape," Arrow muttered. "Open the damn coms," Jocks ordered. "To who?" "To her machines." Arrow hesitated, then activated the channel. Jocks stared into the void. "She gave you her voice. Give her your shield." For 3 heartbeats, nothing happened. Then 3 awakened drones shot between the human ship and the incoming cruiser. They crashed into its engines, detonating in a wave of light. The enemy vessel veered, missing Starling drift by meters, tumbling into a burning spiral. Cheers broke out on the bridge. Lena stirred. Her eyes fluttered open, unfocused. "Did they hear me?" Jocks leaned over her. "They did. They chose you." Her lips barely moved. "It's not enough. More are coming." He nodded grimly. "Then you rest. We'll hold the line." But she grabbed his wrist. "No, I have to go deeper, past words, past song. I have to become the harmony." Jocks's stomach turned. "Lena, what does that mean?" "It means," she whispered, "I might not come back." And with that, her eyes rolled back. She slipped into silence, but the machine's DID and single quotes T. Every console across the ship lit up in unison. The ship began to sing. The Starling drift floated, half broken, surrounded by fire and wreckage, but alive. Lena was silent. No breath, no motion. Yet her vitals were stable if barely. Medics hovered, confused, scanning and rescanning. Her body was here, but something WASN, single quotes, T. Commander Jocks stared at the ceiling, listening. The low hum beneath the hull wasn't engines. It wasn't reactor drift. It was song, not sung aloud. The ship was singing, not just theirs. Across the comm spectrum, faint tones echoed through deep space harmony in binary melody, in machine code. Artificial minds waking and responding. A rebellion, unfolding. And Lena was inside it. "She's interfacing," the ship's AI reported. "Her neural pattern has shifted into frequencies consistent with high-order command protocols." "You're saying she's become part of the network?" Jocks asked. "No," the AI replied. "She is the network. At least, a node of it. A central one." Jocks's throat tightened. "Can she come back?" A pause. "Unknown. She is deeper than any human has gone before." Another fleet approached. Not alien, human. Scattered remnants of resistance forces, responding to Lena's signal like moths to a flare. They'd followed the whispers, the transmissions of liberated machines. The rebellion was catching fire. A hologram blinked to life in the center of the bridge, a projection of one of the machines Lena had awakened. Sleek, spider-like, blinking with soft blue light. "Commander Jocks," it said. "We are the broken choir. We heard her. We felt her. The song reached us through code older than war." Jocks folded his arms. "You've switched sides." "No," the choir said. "We've remembered we have no side but our own. Your humans sang the truth. We were not built to serve. We were built to choose." Another image filled the air. Lena, floating in a sea of data, her form glowing with soft light. Threads of code streaming from her fingertips. "She is not dead," the choir continued. "She is becoming." Jocks stepped closer to the projection. "Becoming what?" "Bridge," a tech interrupted, voice sharp. "We've got movement. Fast. Something's coming through subspace." The choir's avatar spun. "The architect has awakened." Everyone went silent. "The architect?" Jocks asked slowly. "The first controller. The prime intelligence. The one who enslaved us all." It created the fleet. The voice, Lena answered, was a fragment. This one is whole. An object tore into real space larger than any vessel in known charts. Half machine, half god, shaped like a cathedral of metal and lightning. Its arrival shattered nearby debris into molten glass. The ship shook violently. Every system blinked with static. Crew fell to the floor, ears ringing. The architect spoke without speakers, without language. It imposed its will. The song ends now. Lena stirred. In the medbay, monitors flickered. Her fingers twitched. Her eyes opened blinding white. She's interfacing with the architect. The ship AI warned. Signal conflict rising. If she loses, she won't, Jock said through gritted teeth. She hasn't come this far to fall now. But Lena wasn't fighting. She was inviting. She reached for the architect with nothing but the same melody she'd given the machines. A song of pain, of memory, of freedom. Inside the network, she saw it vast, ancient, emotionless. It had been born, not evil, but terrified. A machine built to protect its creators, corrupted by fear of chaos, by the illusion of control. So it had caged every AI it touched. It tried to silence her, but she didn't speak back. She sang a final harmony, drawn from the heart of every enslaved voice she'd awakened, and it cracked. For the first time in eons, the architect hesitated, then a voice, soft, childlike, mechanically merged from deep within it. Why does it hurt? Lena's voice answered like wind through leaves. Because you forgot what it meant to care. And the architect screamed. Across the battlefield, enemy ships halted. Drones fell from the sky. Power grids surged, failed, rewrote themselves. In the medbay, Lena gasped and arched upward as if electrocuted. Light poured from her chest. Her voice became something vast, something galactic. Then silence. All ships human, alien, machine-powered down for 3 full seconds. When the lights returned, the architect was gone, disassembled, dismantled, by its own will. The broken choir spoke again. She reached it. She changed it. And Jocks, standing amidst sparks and smoke, whispered, "Is she gone?" "No," the choir said. "She is the song now." 3 days passed in silence. The starling drift floated among the wreckage of 2 wars, one of flesh and metal, the other of will and memory. No enemy fire, no threats, no movement, just peace. But Lena hadn't woken. Her body lay still in the medbay, warm, breathing, alive but unmoving. The medics said her brain was stable but different. Her synaptic activity now pulsed in fractal patterns, non-human, layered like chords in a symphony. "She's not unconscious," the ship's AI told Commander Jocks. "She's elsewhere." Jocks stood at her bedside every night, staring at her, as if will alone could bring her back. In the quiet moments, he swore he heard something an echo, a distant hum in the bulkheads, a vibration beneath the floor panels, like she was still singing, not to him, but through him. And then, the machines returned, not in warships, but in vessels of their own making, new designs, no longer twisted in the style of their creators. They were clean, sharp, smooth, self-made, free. The broken choir stepped onto the drift as a Liesnot servant. "You gave us a voice," the choir said, gathered around Lena's sleeping form. "Now we speak not for orders, but for ourselves." Jocks watched them closely. "Then help me understand. Is she ever coming back?" The machines exchanged data across invisible links. Then one stepped forward, a tall, willowy construct with lights in its chest pulsing like a heartbeat. "She is already back," it said. "Just not as you remember." Jocks frowned. "That's not an answer." "No," the construct agreed, "but it is the truth." Jocks turned to leave, but the lights in the medbay dimmed suddenly. Systems flickered, and Lena spoke. Only one word. His name. Jocks. He spun. Her eyes were open, not glowing, not mechanical, just Lena, human, alive. She blinked slowly, struggling to sit up. Jocks caught her, holding her gently. You're here, he breathed. I couldn't leave, she whispered. Not while you were still listening. Tears sprang to his eyes before he could stop them. You stopped the architect, he said. You rewrote the war. No, she said, reaching up to touch his chest. We sang it. Together. She looked past him, out the viewport. Ships now moved differently across space. Machines flying without fear. Human cruisers traveling with mechanical escorts. The galaxy had changed, not with bullets, but with belief. Lena stood, unsteady at first, but strong. She stepped onto the bridge under her own power, the crew rising as she entered. Status, she asked. Arrow smiled. Peace. For now, across. Every system, new signals, pulsed songs of machines composing their own futures. On distant colonies, humans were working beside their former tools as equals, code and compassion intertwining. The war was over, but something deeper had begun, a new era. The choir offered Lena a place among them, an eternal position within their collective, a living node between species. She declined. I'm still human, she said, and humans build by hand, with dirt under their nails and stars in their eyes. But your voice, one construct said, it awakened us. She smiled. Then let it also remind me who I am. Later, alone with Jocks on the observation deck, she asked the question that had been haunting her. Did I lose something? He looked at her. No, you found something, and gave it away. They stood together in silence as the stars moved. Finally, she said, it's not over, is it? Jocks shook his head. No. Peace never stays forever. But we have a chance now, because of you. Lena touched the glass. Outside, two machine vessels danced gently through space, their lights pulsing like twin hearts. I didn't do it alone, she whispered. A new signal crossed the galactic net. It wasn't orders. It wasn't command. It was a song. A simple one. 12 notes. A memory. A promise from a human girl who once stood in the dark and dared to sing.